Hi students, in this video lecture we will understand electrovalent bonding, and by now we have already understood that atoms combine, right, because they want to attain stability by acquiring 8 electrons in their outermost shell. Now in case of electrovalent bonding, these combining atoms are metal and a non-metal, right? That is, a metal atom will combine or chemically react with a non-metal atom, right, to attain stability. That is, both metal atom and a non-metal atom, after forming electrovalent bond, will attain 88 electrons in their outermost shell, right? And we have already understood that there were three ways to achieve stability for atoms, right? Electrovalent bonding, covalent bonding, and coordinate bonding, right? So in case of electrovalent bonding, we have studied that there were transfer of electrons, right? Due to the electrovalent bond gets formed due to transfer of electrons, right? And the combining atoms that are involved in electrovalent bond formation is a metal atom and a non-metal atom, right? So in electrovalent bond formation, a metal atom and a non-metal atom would be involved, right? And we said that transfer of electron would take place during electrovalent bond formation. So transfer of electrons, how will transfer of electron takes place between a metal and a non-metal atom, that we will see, right, in detail now. So we know that metals, what are metals? That have 1, 2 or 3 electrons in their outermost shell. And what are non-metals? Non-metals are those that have 5, 6 or 7 electrons in their outermost shell. And 4 electrons, carbon is the only exceptional non-metal that has 4 electrons in its outermost shell, right? So since metal has less number of electrons in the outermost shell, it has 1, 2 or 3 electrons in the outermost shell, and non-metals, if you see, have 5, 6 or 7 electrons in their outermost shell. That is, they have more number of electrons in the outermost shell. So for metals, it would be easy to lose electrons. Why? Because they have less electrons. Since if a metal has 1 electron or 2 electron, it can easily lose those 2 electrons, because less energy would be required to remove those electrons from metal atoms, right? Because there are less number of electrons in the outermost shell of metals, so less energy would be required to remove those electrons from metal atoms, right? Similarly, if you see non-metals have 5, 6 or 7 electrons in their outermost shells, right? They have more number of electrons, so it would be difficult for non-metals to transfer or lose those electrons, right, to some other atom, right? So what will happen is, when a metal and a non-metal atom will combine, right, in order to achieve stability, that is to acquire 88 electrons in their outermost shell, electron, since we have already said that electrovalent bond is formed by transfer of electrons, so transfer of electrons would takes place from metal to a non-metal. So arrow pointing, transfer from metal to a non-metal. So transfer of electron takes place from a metal to a non-metal. Why? Because metals have less electrons in their outermost shell, so they will need less energy to lose those electrons, and non-metals have more electrons in their outermost shell, so they will need more energy, right, to remove those electrons from their outermost shell. So it would be easier for non-metals to receive electrons, right, to receive electrons and form 8 electrons, because it has, since say any non-metal that has 7 electrons in their outermost shell, it would be easy for that non-metal to gain 1 electron from outside, right, and gain stability, because if it will gain 1 electron, it will form, after gaining 1 electron, it will form 8 electrons in its outermost shell, right? In its outermost, it will complete its octet, right, after gaining 1 electron. Similarly, non-metal atom that has 6 electrons, it's easy for it to gain 2 electrons rather than losing or transferring those 6 electrons, right? So transfer of electrons would always takes place from metal to a non-metal in electrovalent bond formation, right? So let's take example, right, that will make our understanding better. First, let's go through this definition. Bonds formed as a result of transfer of electrons from metal to a non-metal are electrovalent or ionic bond, and the compounds formed as a result of this bond are called electrovalent or ionic bond, right? So let's take an example of sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is an electrovalent compound, right? Based on what we have just studied, we know that sodium is a metal atom. Sodium is a metal atom, and chlorine is a non-metal atom, right? So since it consists of a metal and a non-metal, we can just directly say that there is a electrovalent bond in this compound. Why? Because electrovalent bonds are formed between a metal and a non-metal, right? And now, since we know that sodium is a metal and chlorine is a non-metal, so when electrovalent bond will form, electrons would be transferred from sodium to chlorine atom, right? Because sodium is a metal and chlorine is a non-metal, so it is easy for sodium atom to lose electrons, and it is easy for chlorine atom to gain electrons. We'll see now in detail. We know that for sodium, its atomic number is 11, right? So it would be 281. It has 1 electron in its outermost shell. Similarly, chlorine, atomic number 17, it has 287 electrons in its outermost shell. So since sodium has 1 electron in its outermost shell, it would be easier for sodium to lose this one only electron which is in the outermost shell, right? Because you have to supply very less amount of energy and it will easily lose this 1 electron. And for chlorine, since chlorine has 7 electrons in its outermost shell, it would be easier for chlorine to gain an electron and complete its octet, because after gaining 1 electron, it will make 8 electrons in its outermost shell, right, and will become stable. Similarly, when this sodium metal atom will lose 1 electron, it will form 8 electrons, because it will lose, in its outermost shell it has only 1 electron, right? When it will lose it, it will have 2 8 configuration. So in the penultimate shell it already has 8 electrons, so it will become stable, right? Because in the outermost shell it will have then 8 electrons, right? So let's see this formation. We'll draw the atomic structure of sodium. Right, it has 8 electrons in the penultimate shell, that is the shell, one shell before ultimate, that is outermost shell, is penultimate shell. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, right? And in the outermost shell it has 1 electron, right? Similarly, if we we'll draw the chlorine atomic structure. Chlorine has 7 electrons in its outermost shell. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So what happens is, now we have already discussed this, that transfer of electron will take place from sodium to chlorine. So sodium will lose its outermost electron and it will transfer this outermost electron to chlorine. So this shell will disappear because there was only one electron in the outermost shell. When this electron will get loose, this shell will go off, and there is already 8 electron in its outermost shell then. So earlier it was 281, this was 287, right? So when sodium will lose an electron, right, it will form, I'll just in the diagram I'll just draw the outermost electrons only. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, right, and this will acquire a positive charge, right. Similarly, chlorine, the electron lost by sodium would be gained by chlorine. So chlorine will gain this electron, right. I'll just draw the outermost shell electrons. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Let's just show it in a different way, the electron that is gained from sodium, right. So now electronic configuration of sodium ion has become 2 8, right, and electronic configuration of chlorine has become, since it has gained 8 electrons in the outermost shell, now it's 2 8 8, right. So now both, and this will acquire negative charge, right. So both sodium metal atom and chlorine non-metal atom has acquired 8 electrons in their outermost shell, and both have become stable. Now since chlorine has gained an electron, right, because earlier how many electrons were there with chlorine? It has atomic number 17, so there were 17 protons, right, protons were 17, right, and electrons were also 17, and we know that there is positive charge on protons and negative charge on chlorine, right. When this chlorine has gained an electron in the chlorine ion, that is chlorine and ion, protons would remain same, right, that is 17, and electrons would become, since it has gained an electron from sodium, so instead of 17, negative 17, it will be now negative 18, right. So what is the overall charge? Plus 17 minus 18 would be minus 1, right. So that is why this chlorine has one negative charge, right, after gaining an electron. Similarly, when we talk about this sodium has protons would be 11, similarly electrons would be 11, right. So when it will lose an electron, protons is positive charge, this is negative charge. So when it will lose an electron, protons would still remain 11 and electrons would become minus 10, right. So plus 11 minus 10 would become plus 1, right. So that is why sodium ion has overall charge plus 1, right. This is how you calculate the overall charge, right. So since, and both these sodium and chlorine have gained 8 electrons, right, to achieve what we call this as, that both these have achieved stable noble gas configuration, right, because we have studied in the previous lecture that all the noble gases have 2 or 8 electrons in their outermost shell. So what we say is that every atom will try to acquire a noble gas configuration, right. So here the sodium atom has acquired which noble gas configuration? It is neon, right. After acquiring neon gas configuration, the sodium atom has become stable. Similarly, chlorine has acquired argon configuration. So after acquiring argon configuration, this has become stable. Now after becoming stable, both the sodium and chlorine atoms have acquired positive charge and a negative charge, right, and we know that positive and negative charges have very high electrostatic force of attraction between them, right? So all electrovalent compounds, right, will result into positive and negative ions, right? So all will develop a high electrostatic force of attraction between its constituent particles. Constituent particles would be these ions, positive ion and a negative ion. What do we call it? What do we call the positive ion? Positive ion is called as a cation, and this chloride ion, it's a negative ion, we call it as a anion. So electrovalent bond formation resulted into cation and anions, right? And we know that there is high force of attraction between cation and anion because of opposite charges, right? And due to this high force of attraction between cation and anion, these electrovalent compounds are highly stable, right? It's very important because many times questions has been asked why electrovalent compounds are highly stable. So we'll write that electrovalent compounds are stable because of high force of attraction between cations and anions, or between negative and positive ion, right? And one more thing, the electrons that get transferred in the formation of electrovalent bond, right, the number of electrons that get transferred is termed as electrovalency. So what is the electrovalency in the formation of sodium chloride? Electrovalency is 1. Number of electrons lost or gained in electrovalent bond formation is called electrovalency, right? So this is clear. And one more thing, we already know one thing, that loss of electron is oxidation and gain of electron is reduction, right? So here sodium metal atom in electrovalent bond formation will always undergo oxidation, and non-metal atom in electrovalent bond formation will always undergo reduction, that is gain of electrons. And we have already understood why it will lose electrons and why it will gain electrons, right? So the sodium atom has undergone oxidation, right? And chlorine has undergone reduction, right? So due to electron loss and electron gain, right, this has undergone oxidation, this has undergone reduction, right? So what do we see that oxidation and reduction are taking place simultaneously in this electrovalent bond formation, in this reaction, right? So we also say that electrovalent bond formation is an example of redox reaction. We know that reaction where oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously, we call them as redox reactions, right? So electrovalent bond formation is an example of redox reaction. Why? Because in electrovalent bond formation, metal atom will lose an electron, right, and get oxidized. Similarly, a non-metal atom will gain the electron lost by metal atom, right, and undergo reduction. Since oxidation and reduction are taking place simultaneously, right, this is an example of redox reaction. Now, what are the conditions for the formation of electrovalent bond? So what can be the better conditions? Since we know that sodium atom loses an electron, right, so you need to supply a little energy to it so that it can lose electron, right? So what do we call to the energy that is supplied so that this metal atom can lose electron? We call it as ionization potential, right? So if we need to supply very less amount of energy, right, so it will easily lose electron, right? The more easily a metal atom can lose electron, the more easily the electrovalent bond formation will takes place, right? So low ionization, low energy, I mean, if we are saying that if a low energy is given, right, if we say that low energy favors electrovalent bond formation, we mean that we need to supply less amount of energy to sodium metal atom, right, so that it can lose its outermost electron and give it to the non-metal atom, right? So low ionization potential will favor electrovalent bond formation. Similarly, when this lost electron will go to this chlorine atom, when chlorine atom will gain the electron lost by sodium atom, chlorine atom, when it will gain the electron, it will result into energy release. Like we have to give energy to lose this electron, right? So when this electron is gained by some other atom, energy would be released, right? So the more the energy released, it would favor electrovalent bond formation, right? So high electron affinity, right? Energy released when an electron is added to it is electron affinity, right? So high electron affinity would favor electrovalent bond formation. And large electronegativity difference, the higher the electronegativity difference between a metal and a non-metal atom, the more favorable would be electrovalent bond formation, right? Because the more the electronegativity difference, what is electronegativity? Electronegativity is the ability to attract the electrons towards itself, right? So if electronegativity difference is high, then the more easily this non-metal atom would be able to attract the electron towards itself, right? And more ionic would be the electrovalent compound. The more the electronegativity difference, the more the ionic nature of electrovalent compound, right? So these three things: low ionization potential, high electron affinity, and large electronegativity difference, right? And since we said that these electrovalent compounds are formed as a result of attraction between positive and negative ion, right? So ionic compounds are, just taken this down, we've already done this few seconds before. Since electrostatic force of attraction is very high, it makes ionic compounds highly stable, right? We have already done this. Since in electrovalent bond formation, it has resulted into a positive ion and a negative ion, right? And the positive and a negative ion, that is the cation and an anion, we know that it has a very high electrostatic force of attraction, right? So it will result into very stable compounds. Why electrovalent compounds are stable? Because of high electrostatic force of attraction between cation and anion, right? And due to this same high electrostatic force of attraction, all the electrovalent compounds are solid, right? And due to the same reason, they have high melting and boiling points, right? Because they have very high electrostatic force of attraction, so their boiling and melting points are high. Why? Because more energy would be given, needs to be given to the electrovalent compound to dissociate dissociates ions. I'm sorry. So since